Hi, y'all. Due to local regulations, they say we have to wear a mask when we cook now, so I got my mask on. No, that's wrong. I live in Florida. We have freedoms here. Y'all, the rest of y'all's country is suckers. Anyway, welcome to my kitchen. I want to go over a couple of things today, but we're going to be making a race day pie, which I'll get into here shortly. I've had some comments on some of my videos, so I wanted to let you all know what we're changing up. Some people said that it was too long, so I'm going to try to make it shorter, or I'll just try to talk faster, so you're just going to have to deal with it. And then some people said, well, it'd be better if you were naked and just wearing an apron. Well, I don't have an apron, so I'll just show you a little bit more skin this way. Maybe that'll keep people's interest. So anyway, today we are going to make, what do you think, Jason? Do you think this works?
I think it does.
Oh, you like it? Is it sexy?
Yes.
Okay, good. We got to keep people's interest and I hear sex sales. So here we are. So we are going to be doing our race day pie today. What are you talking to?
Stitch.
Why are you yelling at the cat?
She's trying to get to the bacon.
Well, the bacon is good. That's right. That's for another show. We're gonna make a race day pie. Race day pie is a Kentucky. It's just it's one of those things. It's a Kentucky. What do they call those things? Standard. It's one of those things. If you are in Kentucky and you are near like the Derby time, they'll always serve out the race day pie. But we always like our race day pie. I always have it Thanksgiving. That seems to be the best time in Florida to make it. The best way to describe it, it's a caramel-based pie. It has pecans in it, and it has chocolate chips in it. And back in the day when I used to work at Boone Tavern, we had something that was called like a Derby pie, which you really can't. Actually, it was a race day pie. That's what we called it. The Derby pie is actually trademarked. I think it's I think the Brown Hotel or one of the hotels in Louisville actually, or one of the restaurants in Louisville actually has the patent on it. So you can't call it a Derby pie, but it's a race day pie. But it's basically like a Kentucky chess pie that has chocolate chips in it. That's what we used to say. So people knew what a chess pie was. Though people down here don't know what a chess pie is typically, so therefore I just say it's similar to a pecan pie, but it's got chocolate chips in it. It's got chocolate. Who cares what else is in it? So anyway, the way you make this thing, and it's really good, right?
Yes, very good.
Yeah, Jason loves it, so that's why we have to make it every year. And I took this to work one year, which I'll tell you about. I was accused of boozing people up, and I didn't even put the booze in the pie. So anyway, it's that good.
He is this time, though.
I am putting the booze in this time. Absolutely, I'm putting the booze in. How did I forget to get mine?
Uh-oh, he's digging through the cabinet again.
It. First try, I found it. So today we are going to begin with 4 eggs. So this is a recipe I actually fairly closely follow what I'm told to do, because when you're baking, if you don't, it'll really get all screwed up. So this one, it starts with 4 eggs. You want to beat the crap out of those eggs. Beat them, beat them, beat them, beat them. Beat them, beat them, beat them, beat them, beat them. Boom, done. Done. That's your eggs. So your eggs go first. And then I've already pre-measured out everything over here. What we're going to be adding to these eggs, I'll just give you a little hint. I already told you about the chocolate chips. There's the pecans. We're going to be adding white sugar. There's 3/4 of a cup of white sugar there. There is brown sugar, because you got to have brown sugar too. You have to have your white sugar and your brown sugar. Here's your brown sugar. There is 1/4 of a cup, so you're putting a cup of sugar. It's not very sweet, but it's a cup of sugar. Don't worry, it gets better. We're also going to be adding some vanilla. This is authentic vanilla from Mexico. Back in the day when we were allowed to do things and we could cruise, we went to Mexico and we picked up tons of this stuff. It's really good stuff. We're also going to be adding melted butter that I've brought back to room temperature. You don't want to put hot butter into your eggs because you'll start cooking your eggs. And then we also have one of the secret ingredients, which is this Karo syrup. I make fun because it's Karo syrup. We had a girl a little old lady came into the Boone Tavern one night, and we used to serve spoon bread there, and she demanded that we get her some Karo syrup. For those of y'all that don't know what Karo syrup is a white, well, it's a light corn syrup. And this stuff is sweet. It is just, this is like booze in a bottle. It's just sugar. Drink a little of this and you'll be high for days. But it's really good. The original recipe, I believe, calls for what they call white corn syrup, which is almost impossible to find down here. So I use the light. They said don't, but I always do, and it works just fine. So that's your Karo syrup. And then, of course, because it is a race day pie, we have to have our booze. And today, a lot of people say you're supposed to use like a Maker's Mark, or you're supposed to use something, you know, that's good, Woodford. I'm cheap, and we went to Walmart, and so all we have here is the Jim Beam. So that works. And we got something that we would drink later that I didn't mind letting them drink. What's going on over there? Is there a little party going on in the house over there that I don't know about?
Yep. Hold on now.
I'm back. Sorry if it was a little weird, but we had to pause it for a second. We had a little kitty catastrophe we had to deal with. I won't say what it was. Anyway, so that's what we've got to go in here. We are going to start by whisking the egg. We did that. So now we're going to take our 3/4 sugar, 3/4 of a cup, and you're going to put that on in there. And then you're going to take your brown sugar, which is 1/4 of a cup. You're going to mix that on in there. Mix your brown, mix your white. You can take that, and you're just going to, this is a lot of whisking, I warn you now. You're going to whisk, 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 and watch out for the lumps. Usually I try to get those out when I measure it, but I think I left it in there a little bit too long, or it set on me. The other reason I had to open my shirt, this is a workout. So, whisk, 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 whisk. And so far, looks pretty good. So after you have whisked in your brown sugar, your white sugar, still a little bit of sugar, won't go. It just don't want to get dissolved. Okay, come on, mix in there. A little stubborn brown sugar in there. Okay, there we go. So we got that all mixed up, and now we're going to add our Karo syrup. And this stuff is extremely thick, as you will see. And because it gets a little difficult to get out of there, just scoop the rest of this out. And like I said, this stuff is good, but it's just really, really sweet, really, really rich. This is the stuff that I think was what I had put in my original pie, and I took it to work, and they swore, my owners, they swore that I was boozing everybody up at the place because it's so rich, it's so sweet, but no sugar in there. I mean, no booze in that yet. We're getting to the best part here. So there we go.
Woo!
And
That's got a lot of sweetness to it.
As if you needed anything sweeter from me, because I'm as sweet as they come. But there you go. So, you swish this up. Get that sugar all mixed up in there. Get that syrup all mixed up in there. And then the next thing you're going to need is a teaspoon. It is a teaspoon, which is this little teaspoon. And when that sugar, I'll warn you, that Karo syrup will get all over you, so just be prepared. I need 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I may be sure to measure this out beforehand so I don't have an embarrassment on the camera. And we didn't. So there we go. 1 teaspoon vanilla. And then you're supposed to put in 2 tablespoons of your whiskey. And if this one will overrun just a little bit, it ain't gonna hurt anything. Then you take, there's 1, and then there's 2. And just because it's a little bit extra. Not quite. There we go. Yeah. Woo, baby, there we go. Now we're cooking. So I got our booze in there. Gotta have your bourbon. You blend that all up in there. Blend, blend, blend. Close up your vanilla so you don't knock it over. And then the last thing that's going to go in here is your butter. So you just take your butter, and like I said, you want it to come back to room temperature after you melt it. This is 1 stick of butter. Pour that in. All the good stuff. It's perfectly healthy in here. Can't you tell?
Yeah.
This is the healthiest pie I think you can make. Everything in here is all natural. So put all that together. Blend, blend, blend. And just because you're supposed to, you got to taste it. Ooh, baby. Oh, was that too fast? Hold on. I'm not sticking my finger back in there. I guess you're going to have to. Taste it. Oh, wait, there's raw eggs. Some people get antsy over that. Oh, well. What don't kill you makes you stronger. That's what I say. But it's good. Trust me, all that sugar and that booze in there, whatever was in those eggs, is fine. No worries there. So, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to have to put this into your pie shells. And I didn't anticipate this part. I probably should have. But basically what you're going to do, I'm going to take the spoon. I don't know if I need the spoon. You're going to pour. Oh, wait. I'm doing this out of sequence. I'm so nervous. I'm so wrong. Hold that thought. The next thing you're going to do, you're going to take your chocolate chips and your pecans. There they are. There's a cup of chocolate chips and there's a cup of pecans. I got 2 pies. You could do this in half cup. The recipe calls for a cup, but usually you end up with so much custard that you just basically have to divide this up. So I already know this, so I went ahead and planned on having the 2 shells. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your pecans and you're going to divide those about half and half between your pie shells. And in case y'all didn't notice, it was a cup, and I'm using these handy dandy Pampered Chef measuring cups. You can actually have these set out. They have little lids on them, so you can do all this stuff ahead of time, have it already pre-cut, pre-ready to go, and just have it cut ready to sit in your refrigerator or sit wherever, whatever you have, if it's sitting on the counter or whatever. But you have lids for them. You can have this done ahead of time. I don't know if y'all noticed, I had those little heaping, because in the South, we don't do anything by like the flat amount. It's got to be a little bit of excess. So notice that my cup is overflow with chocolate chips, so it's the same thing.
Minus a few that I've already eaten.
Well, Jason, I was going to say, it was a little bit more heaping a few minutes ago, and then, yeah, I noticed that the mountain fell. So, anyway, we put our pecans in, we split those out, and then we're going to also split our chocolate chips out. And again, you're just going to have to, figure out what's about half and half here. If one of you super anal, you could have just measured out half and half. That's fine, but I'm not like that. Let's make it simple. Would you get your fingers out of my pie? Alright, fine. So we got our chocolate chips in there. And I have actually super stuffed these before and put more than I should in pecans and chocolate chips. It's good, but the problem is it gets really hard when you get to cut it, because if you get too much in here, you lose the consistency of the pie. It's a little harder to cut, and it gets harder as time goes on. Now I hear the cat's chiming in. Really? Do we need to hear from the kitty cat right now? Anyway, so as you can see, we have basically split out chocolate chips, pecans over 2 pies. Now you can move to the step where we're going to go in and we're going to basically pour the custard in over the pies. So we're going to start with pie number 1, and just to kind of keep it a little consistent, I'm going to spoon it in at first just so we kind of make it as even as possible. And then we'll pour the rest in. It doesn't have to be exact, obviously, but you want to get as close as you can, equal. And there we go.
Stitch said they look good.
Does she want some?
Yes.
Sorry, it's got chocolate chips in it. Not appropriate for kitty cats.
Sorry.
Too bad. And there you go. So, you got your custard split between your two pies. I got this little scoopy thing here just to make sure we get all that sugary goodness out. Now, you'll notice that I put my pies onto a baking sheet, and the main reason I did it, it's not because it's going to really rise all that much, but what we found is that when we put them in and out of the oven, my oven has a little bit of a, it's kind of a pain, it has a little bit of a rip at the, or at the, like a, the wrap comes up in the beginning, and it makes it a little hard, and sometimes we put them in, and because my top oven's a little narrow, it makes it sometimes a little hard, and we end up spilling half of the pie out over. So it's better if you put it onto the sheet, and hopefully we won't have that catastrophe tonight. But when you're done, this is what it looks like. So your oven is going to be about 350 degrees, preheated. And so we're going to go over here to the oven. I'm going to open her up. And I had those, oh, here they is. I'm going to take and I'm going to put this into the oven. I'm going to go ahead and pull the rack out a little bit, so hopefully we don't have this little catastrophe we normally have. And I actually noticed that these particular pie crusts, these are 9-inch pie crusts, but they happen to be the deep dish variety, so they're not as bad as some of the ones that we do put in sometimes. There we go. I don't think we spilled it this time.
Nope, we didn't.
So that's really cool. So I think this takes about 30 to 35 minutes. I'll double check it and make sure, but we'll check back with y'all here shortly. And I think we're good for the moment. I got a couple other dishes that we're going to be putting together here at the same time because we're getting ready for Thanksgiving tomorrow. So for now, I'm going to sign out for just a few minutes and we'll be back. Hey y'all, we're back. And now's for the moment of truth for our race day pie. Now, I sort of made a boo-boo that I'm going to tell y'all about that you all need to make sure that you don't make the boo-boo on. And that is in the mixture that I created, the custard, we should have added 1 tablespoon of flour. And unfortunately, I forgot. So we're hoping that it all turns out in the end. I think it's just going to be a little bit different consistency, which in my opinion might be a good thing. It might be a little bit softer than what it sometimes turns out to be. So I'm hoping that that's the case. But we're going to go ahead and pull these out. And I know Jason's like, do you want me to film this? And I was like, sure, but I didn't realize it's just because he wants the butt shot of me going in here to the oven. Fortunately, I'm wearing the long shirt today, so it doesn't create a problem. I'm thinking that these, I don't know, what do you think, Jason?
I think they look good.
You think they're okay? I think they could use a little bit more on the top. I mean, they're set. They're definitely there. I would probably put them in a few more minutes. We're going to go see what they turn out. I think they might be okay. I'll have to look. It shouldn't be bad. They're a little lighter than I normally do, but I think I overcook them normally. So there you go. But that's in there for about 40 minutes actually, because like I said, my oven always takes a little bit longer than what the recipes always call for. So it's been in there about 40 minutes or so. These are going to set, and then I'm going to have these for tomorrow. Basically, we'll throw foil over the top of them, and they'll be good to go. I'll test the consistency of them here in a little bit once they cool just a little bit. But otherwise, that is your race day pie.